Hey guys, welcome back to Top Tier Tips. I know I've skipped a few days in doing these videos, so I want to jump back on board the train. Today's Wednesday, and we are having our GPP and skill practice time during the week. That gives us a nice little break in the programming where things are a little less stressful, allow for improved recovery time for people that are coming 4 or 5 days a week. Today I wanted to delve a little bit deeper into the concept of GPP and why you should care. I mentioned it in a previous episode a bit, and here we'll get a little more specific, and I'll even relate a specific example that an athlete asked me about over the weekend. Okay, so your GPP, it stands for General Physical Preparedness, and essentially it means building up a person's capability to generally perform physical tasks better and better. A great analogy would be a farmer being able to do a lot of different kinds of tasks throughout the day that require like strength and some power, some flexibility for an extended period of time, meaning endurance, with very awkward, cumbersome objects oftentimes. All right, so our GPP is necessary. Building it over and over, more and more, is necessary to get to higher and higher levels of performance. It's also a big part of injury prevention. So GPP doesn't just apply to athletes, it applies to the regular mom and dad that just wants to be able to go grocery shopping and pick up a bunch of bags to carry around without hurting themselves. Applies to people who want to go run around and have a snowball fight with their kids, people who want to go try ice skating and haven't done a lot of physical training. The higher a person's GPP, the more likely they can engage in learning new tasks that require some effort and without hurting themselves. Now, a higher level athlete requires a higher level GPP than, say, the mom or dad that just wants to run around with their kids playing in a snowball fight without injury. So on this whiteboard here, we're gonna pull out some geometry. So here are two pyramids. All right, and if you'll notice that the right pyramid is a little bit taller, all right, than the left pyramid. So in mathematics and geometry, a pyramid is only as tall as its base is wide. And so this is a good analogy for why GPP can be helpful in the human body. So if I want to reach a higher and higher level of skill, or higher levels of performance, if I make this peak higher in space, the only way I'm really going to get there is I have to widen my base. And my base is GPP, General Physical Preparedness. The very tip of your pyramid are your skills, like the highly specific skills that you're required to do for your activity. So in gymnastics, that would include the actual events that are scored in the sport. In weightlifting, it would be snatch and clean and jerk are up here in the skill. All right. CrossFit skills are much higher in number than many other sports, and their required skills. So CrossFit requires even greater width of their GPP. In between your GPP and skill and the pyramid is what's called your SPP, so your special physical preparedness. And so that is a combination of physical attributes that change based on the requirements of the activity as we get closer and closer to a particular set of skills. So special physical preparedness can be things like your strength, your mobility, your power, your endurance, all right? And so we layer those things on top of our GPP in various amounts to ultimately culminate into a more refined skill set. But again, to reach that highest peak, we must continuously widen the base of the pyramid. So I had a person come into the gym on Saturday, and they asked a question. They're working with me on individual programming. in addition to being in regular classes. I'm definitely not a fan of people just doing their own program only. I think it's generally a mistake for most people. But I have been programming homework on the side for people, and those people that I'm working with are also regularly in coach classes. And I'm doing this for free right now for people. So if any of you guys want something like that, just talk to me. But this particular person, she wanted to get better at kipping pull-ups. So I asked her to show me her kipping pull-ups. And what I could tell right away was that what she thought in her head was that I have to practice kipping pull-ups. I'm making a technique error. So she was making an assumption that the skill needed to be refined. All right? And what I saw instead was that her special physical preparedness and likely her GPP in some instances needed to improve in order for that skill to improve. So for this particular person to actually cycle her kipping pull-ups well, she needs to build a higher relative strength, meaning improve her strength without her body weight going up. Right? She needs to improve her core stability, her ability to activate her mid-back and her scapula, so scapular activation, and her coordination to do those things. Ironically, really, the coordination piece is highly dependent on the other three components, right? The relative strength, the core stability, and the scapular activation. It's very hard to string together a coordinated skill without having a lot of strength reserve and a lot of muscle control, so it's sort of a body awareness and activation. It's hard to learn coordination and precision when you can't even really control your body very well or produce enough force. So this particular person thought she was going to get help on her kipping pull-ups. What she learned was that, okay, we can do that down the line, but what we first have to do is we got to improve your strict strength, both in a horizontal and vertical plane. We have to improve your core stability, particularly in a hollow and an arch position. And then we also have to improve your ability to activate your scapula so that you then can put all those things together in a coordinated pattern to learn and control kipping pull-ups and or butterfly pull-ups. So there are many, many examples like this. And this is why coming to the gym and doing Wednesday classes, for example, are so important, because building up your GPP is super important for any of your skill sets. It's also why coming to people like me and getting some homework on the side, like I said, I'm doing that for free, is not a bad plan. It doesn't require a lot of time investment, but the average person assumes that I just have to practice the thing over and over and over and over again to get better at the thing. And sometimes that is true, but in many cases it's not the full story. All right, so we'll elaborate more on GPP and SPP as I make videos. But as always, if you guys have any questions, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, or you can reach me out on a phone. All right, so 443-742-1224. All right, until next time.